I flew to India to get revenge because a scammer stole $10,000 from my mom. Okay, so my mom and I have had a very close relationship. She has basically been my life support and I hers ever since my father died. Recently, she was a Walmart greeter, but she fell at work and she was let go. We tried to get disability for her, but it didn't work because she wasn't disabled enough, but she's so old and such a risk that no one will hire her or keep her hired. So that leads us to the situation where in order to make ends meet, I took a job the next city over because it was a massive pay upgrade, almost $17.50 an hour. My mom has early stage dementia and doesn't have someone to look after her. My dad died years ago and there is no other family, but I've had to move to Utah to take a job which has left her alone. The state says that she's not bad enough to receive disability, but she literally cannot work anymore. She's in her 70s and the most recent job she had as a Walmart greeter, she collapsed at work, so she's been sort of retired, but not in the rich way, just in a sort of forced way. So I've been trying to make more money to take care of her with this new job, but since I've had to leave the state, she is alone more often than I'd like. And I had no idea how many scammers would figure this out. There must be a way to look up older people that are alone because it's like they specifically target her and I've never gotten one call ever. She is basically trained to pick up the phone no matter what time it is because she thinks it might be me, but I've been trying to get her to use Discord and she thinks it's too complicated. Anyway, the story starts with her calling me weeping hysterically saying she doesn't know what happened, but her entire life savings and my whole inheritance was wiped out of her bank account, almost $11,000. I said, wait, start from the beginning, what happened? And she said she couldn't figure out how to get Discord open and there was a Microsoft error, so she Googled like I told her to and found the number from Microsoft and called them to ask them how to get past this page on her Windows PC so she could use Discord to talk to her son. Well, as you probably already guessed, this was not Microsoft. It's one of these Indian companies that buys websites that look official and then puts a ton of money into search engine optimization to have them rank high, so when you Google them, they are at the top of the list. This one has a website where they made the M in Microsoft look like it was just an M, but it was two letters side by side, so technically a totally different website. I don't know the exact method he used, but eventually he ended up getting remote access to her PC and just dumped everything she owned while she was still on the phone as she screamed in horror for him to stop once she realized what was happening, but she had no idea how to stop it. She said his name was Rahul. She kept saying it over and over. Rahul did this. Rahul took everything. My mom has had very, very dark self-destructive thoughts ever since this happened. A mix of shame for no longer being able to have a nest egg to support herself and embarrassment that everything she ever worked for her whole life to give to me was gone in an instant. And she doesn't have the ability to work to earn more money, so she fell into a pit of despair in a way that I've never seen someone do before. She stopped eating, stopped showering, just sat in that chair staring at nothing. I'd call her every day and she'd barely speak, just cry, apologize, say she failed me, and I'd rather not go into the details, but last month I lost her. This was the only family I had left in the world, and I told her the money didn't matter, but she wouldn't hear me. She said even at my really good job that I left the state for where I earned $17.50 an hour, it would take me years to make back the money she felt she lost. And that's more money than anyone in our family history has ever made, and she was incredibly frugal, giving up basic life luxuries that other people don't even consider luxuries just to save that money, and now it's all in India, in some scammer's pocket. Before she died, I was frustrated, but after the funeral, something snapped in me. I felt murderous. The only person in my life I loved was gone forever, and I felt part of the reason she let go of her life was because of the shame of this whole situation. A few days after the funeral, I was going through her things, trying to figure out what to keep and what to let go of. I found her phone still plugged in by her chair. I unlocked it, I knew her passcode, it was my birthday. I was going to cancel her service when I saw she had voicemails in her drafts. Unsent voicemails. There were 7 of them. I sat down in her chair and played the first one. Her voice came through shaky and uncertain. "Hi honey, I'm just testing this out. I wanted to leave you a message to tell you how proud I am of you. You work so hard and you've been so patient with me. I know I'm not good with technology, but I'm trying. I hope you know that. I love you so much." She never sent it. The date stamp showed it was from 3 months before she died. I played the next one. "I don't know if I'm doing this right. I wanted to tell you that I trust you completely. You've never let me down, not once. I know you're worried about me being alone, but I'm okay. I just wish I could figure out how to use that Discord thing so we could talk more easily. I don't want to be a burden." Another one. "I'm scared sometimes. I forget things and I don't know if it's getting worse or if I'm just tired. But I don't want to worry you. You have enough on your plate. I just wanted you to know that even on the days when I'm confused, I never forget how much I love you. You're the best thing I ever did with my life." I sat there listening to all 7. She apologized for being slow. She told me she was grateful. She said she hoped she could keep up long enough to stay close to me. The last one was dated 2 weeks before the scam. "I practiced today. I think I almost got Discord to work, but then there was an error message. I'm going to try again tomorrow. I know you're busy, but talking to you is the best part of my day. I hope I can figure this out soon. I love you, sweetheart. I'm so proud of you." I couldn't breathe. She died thinking she'd failed me. She died ashamed. And she'd been trying so hard, leaving these messages she never sent because she probably couldn't figure out how to send them. I put the phone down and cried harder than I had at the funeral. So for the next year, I cut off everyone in my life. I became extremely isolated, still kept working, saving up money, but would come home and became obsessive over this situation. I started teaching myself basic Hindi and Marathi out of pure hatred, imagining scenarios where I could hear them speak, and they thought I wouldn't understand what they were saying, but I secretly knew exactly what they were saying, and I would lie and waiting to use it against them. I had dreams where I would find the guy who did this and torture him. I know it sounds crazy, but they were were just dreams. Dreams where I made him feel a fraction of the pain he caused me. I started referring to him as Rahul because that was the name my mom said before she passed. The name that kept coming up in her final weeks when she'd have episodes. Rahul. Always Rahul. I realized I was physically weak. Too much sitting. I had to get my body in shape. For what reason I didn't know. Maybe I did know and just didn't want to admit it. I would literally listen to Hindi language audio tapes on repeat while doing 10 sets of 10 burpees supersetted with pull-ups and alternating each superset with bursting cardio. My body changed. Got harder. Meaner. I started watching Hindi movies to find solace in something while isolated. I started crying when I watched the movie 3 Idiots. Not because it's a good movie, it's not, that movie is awful, but because I felt the rage killing me when I looked over to the chair my mom used to sit and there was no one there and the Hindi kept playing in the background. There was a lot of crying. One night after an intense isolated workout on my kitchen floor, I left to take a shower and it all hit me at once. I collapsed on the ground. I was so alone, I had nothing and no one. I just wanted to speak to Rahul to ask him why he did what he did. I was curled up in the fetal position on the floor of the shower crying, and that's when the seed was planted. I just wanted to talk to him to understand how someone can cause someone so much pain. Did he understand how much pain he caused me? Did he care? It was that question that made me start shaking with anger. So that's when I decided I would save up enough money to go to India to just find Rahul and have a conversation with him. Clearly, he knew enough English to pull off this scam, so he will have enough English to have a conversation with me. Every paycheck after that went into a savings account. I stopped eating out completely, lived on rice and beans, stopped paying for internet and just used the Wi-Fi at work, canceled everything. Every dollar mattered. Every dollar was one step closer to India, one step closer to Rahul. On the really bad nights when the isolation felt like it was crushing me, I'd pull up those voicemails on my phone. I'd transfer them from her phone to mine. I listened to her voice telling me she was proud of me, that she trusted me. Sometimes it helped. Sometimes it made everything worse. 6 months later, it was the day of my flight to Mumbai. I got the cheapest red-eye possible in a packed, sweltering hot plane, and that was the first moment I realized my nearly year-long routine of intense workouts while listening to Hindi language lessons actually mattered. I started picking out words I actually understood. It was kind of surreal, to be honest. The flight was over 17 hours and we stopped in Istanbul for a layover. I had never once left the country and never in a million years did I think I'd waste my entire life savings flying to India of all places. I realized the irony that in a way it's kind of like Rahul wiped us out twice. First my mom's money, now mine. While on the plane I reviewed my plan one more time even though I knew it like the back of my hand. Where I was staying, where I would eat, how I would get clean water, the Hindi words to try to find someone to hire to help me, the currency exchange so I don't get ripped off, etc. I used a reverse voice search to find out the person who owned the website that my mom went to, and that's where the plan ended. What would happen once I got to that stage was a big question mark, a big unknown. Quick note from the narrator. If you haven't already followed the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please search up Am I the Jerk and Am I the Genius and make sure to follow there for some exclusive episodes. Also, you can always submit your own stories like this on AmITheJerk.com/submit. Alrighty, let's get back to the story, thanks. I had the name Arjun from the domain registration. That was my only lead. So when I landed, I instantly realized how different everything smelled. I never knew different countries had different smells. It wasn't bad, it was just very different, overwhelming. The heat hit me like a wall even inside the airport. So I ended up staying in an Airbnb and planning out my stay. It cost $879 for 27 nights. A whole month in India cost less than 2 weeks rent back home. I spent the first 3 days just watching. I had the address from the reverse voice search for the domain owner, some guy named Arjun. His place was in Antari, kind of a middle class area, not super rich but definitely not poor. I'd sit at this chai stall across the street pretending to drink tea that tasted like someone dissolved a candy bar in hot milk. I watched him leave in the morning, come back at night, the whole routine. On the third day, I finally worked up the courage to approach him. I used my broken Hindi to ask for directions and he responded in perfect English with this thick accent, asked if I was lost. I told him I was looking for someone who worked in tech support, that I had a business opportunity. His eyes lit up at that. Money. Always money with these guys. He invited me back to his apartment to talk. The place was small, cramped. He had 2 roommates who were playing some cricket video game in the other room. We sat in his bedroom, which was barely big enough for a bed and a desk with 3 monitors on it. That's when I saw it. The setup, the VoIP phone system, the remote access software already open on one of the screens, a spreadsheet with what looked like hundreds of phone numbers and dollar amounts next to them. I told him I had a problem with my laptop back at my Airbnb, that I'd pay him to come fix it. $50 American. He practically jumped at it. We walked back to my place about 15 minutes away. The whole time he's chatting, asking me about America, about why I'm in Mumbai, and I'm giving him these vague answers about business opportunities and wanting to see India. When we got to my Airbnb, I offered him water. He sat down on the couch and I came up behind him fast. I'm not proud of what happened next, but a year of burpees and pull-ups meant I was a lot stronger than I used to be. I got him in a chokehold until he passed out, just like I'd seen in those MMA videos I'd been watching obsessively for months. When he woke up, he was zip tied to the chair, the nice wooden one from the kitchen. I'd used 3 zip ties per wrist, 2 per ankle. I tested them the night before on myself to make sure they'd hold. His mouth had a sock in it, one of my dirty ones from the plane, and I'd used duct tape over that. His eyes were huge, terrified, sweating already even though the AC was on full blast. I pulled up the other chair and sat across from him. I pulled out my phone and opened Google Translate. I typed in English. Do you know who I am? Let it translate to Hindi. Held it up to his face. He shook his head no, muffled sounds coming through the gag. bag. I typed again. You are going to help me find someone named Rahul. He works in phone scams, Microsoft scams. You are going to tell me how to find him or you are not leaving this room. His eyes somehow got even wider. He started nodding frantically, making noises like he wanted to talk. I ripped the tape off. He gasped. Please, sir, please. I don't know any Rahul. There are thousands of Rahuls. Please, I have family. Please. I put the tape back on, typed in to translate. Wrong answer. Think harder. I left him there for an hour. Just sat in the other room scrolling on my phone, listening to him whimper. When I came back, his shirt was soaked through with sweat. I ripped the tape off again. Okay. Yes, I know operations. I know many operations, but Rahul is common name, sir. Very common. You must tell me more. Please, sir. What operation? What kind of scam? Microsoft. He scammed an old woman. Took $11,000 from her last year. She's dead now. That's all I know. His name was Rahul. Arjun's face went white. Whiter than it already was. Sir, please, sir. I don't do these things anymore. I used to. I'm sorry, sir. I'm very sorry, but I left that business, please. You're still running the websites. I saw your computer. Sir, those are different. Those are just tech support. Legitimate, please, sir. I didn't believe him, but it didn't matter. I typed in translate, take me to Rahul, or I go to the police with everything on your computer. Sir, the police don't care. They don't care about these things, please, sir. Then I guess you're staying in that chair. He started crying. Actually crying. Tears running down his face. Sir, please. Okay, I know someone who might know. Big operation. Very big. They do Microsoft, they do IRS, everything. I used to work there. I left 2 years ago. I can take you to the building. But sir, I don't know if Rahul still works there. People come and go. What's the name of the operation? Tech Solutions India. But sir, that's not the real name. That's just what they tell customers. Real name is different. Please, sir. He paused, still crying. Sir, there was another one. Another big target. Old woman in Bandra. Meena. They talked about her all the time. Big whale. Maybe she knows something. Maybe they contacted her again. I don't know, sir. Please. I wrote down the name. Meena. Bandra. Another whale. Another mom. I cut him loose. Told him if he ran, I'd find him again. Told him I had copies of everything on his computer, which was a lie, but he believed it. He rubbed his wrist where the zip ties had cut into the skin. We walked outside together and got in an auto rickshaw. He gave the driver an address in Gorgon. The building looked normal, just a regular office building. We went up to the 4th floor and there was a door with frosted glass. You could hear the noise even from outside. Dozens of people talking at once. This is it, sir. I can't go in. They know I left. Please, sir, can I go? I let him go. Watched him practically run down the hallway to the stairs. I stood outside that door for what felt like forever. This was it. Rahul was in there. Maybe. Possibly. Behind that door was the person who killed my mom. I didn't go in. I couldn't go in. What was I gonna do? Walk into a room full of scammers and just start asking for Rahul? There were probably 10 Rahuls in there. 20. And even if I found the right one, then what? Beat him up in front of everyone? Get arrested in a foreign country? I sat down in the hallway with my back against the wall. I could hear them in there. The scripts they were reading. The fake American accents. The lies. Ma'am, I'm calling from Microsoft. We've detected a virus on your computer. Over and over. Different voices. All the same script. All the same lies my mom heard. I sat there for 3 hours. People came and went. Guys in their 20s mostly. Some women too. They'd look at me sitting there, but nobody said anything. I must have looked insane. This American guy just sitting in their hallway staring at nothing. Then one guy came out, maybe late 20s, thin, nervous looking. He kept glancing at me. Finally, he walked over. You are okay? He asked in accented English. I looked up at him. He looked terrified. Not of me, just terrified in general. I'm fine, I said. He shifted his weight, looked back at the door. You are here many hours. You are looking for someone? I studied his face. Something about the way he asked, like he was afraid of the answer. Maybe. He sat down next to me, but not close. Left a lot of space between us. I am Farouk. I work here. I see you watching. 3 days now, you are outside. Today, you are here. My stomach dropped. He'd seen me. I'm not here to cause trouble, I said. I know, he said quietly. You are looking for someone who hurt you, or hurt someone you love. I can see it in your face. I didn't say anything. He looked down at his hands. I work in there. I make the calls. Microsoft scams, IRS scams. I hate it. But I have debt. My father is sick. I send money home. I cannot leave. Then why are you talking to me? He was quiet for a long time. Because I'm afraid. You are American. You are angry. You have been watching. I think maybe you know something. Maybe you will do something. Maybe it will come back on all of us. I have a family. I cannot go to jail. I'm looking for someone specific. Someone named Rahul. Farouk nodded slowly. There are 2 Rahuls here. One is junior, very young. Other is senior. Rahul Bhai. 5 years here. Very successful. Makes much money. What's he look like? Big man. Fat. Expensive clothes. He drives black BMW. Very proud. Always talking about his success. The boss loves him. They put his best scores on the wall. Where does he live? Farouk shook his head. I don't know, but I know he works 4th floor, leaves around 7 p.m. every day. The BMW is in the parking garage, level 2. Why are you telling me this? He looked at me with these exhausted eyes. Because I think maybe you will do something to him and not to the rest of us. And maybe if something happens to him, it will scare the others. Maybe it will be an excuse for me to leave. I don't know. I am just tired. I am very tired. He stood up. He is there now. He will leave at 7. Black BMW, BMW, license plate MH02. He told me the numbers. Then he walked back inside without looking at me again. I sat there until 7:15. Immediately, everything Farouk said. Big, fat, expensive shirt, designer jeans, talking on an iPhone like he owned the world. I followed him down to the parking garage, watched him get into the black BMW. Same plate Farouk had told me. I took a picture of it anyway. The next morning I went looking for Meena. Arjun had said Bandra, but that was a big area. I spent 200 rupees on a phone call to some local information service, gave them the name, said she was elderly, probably lived alone. They gave me 3 addresses. The first 2 were wrong people. The third address was an old apartment building, peeling paint, narrow stairs. I knocked on the door. Who is it? The voice was thin, scared. I'm looking for Meena auntie. Go away, I have no money. Please go away. I'm not here for money. I just want to talk. No, no, no. Please leave me alone. I heard shuffling inside. Then the door opened a crack. A woman's face, maybe 70, maybe older, thin, terrified eyes. She looked at me and immediately started shaking. Please, sir, please. I have nothing left. They already took everything. Please don't hurt me. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not with them. That's what they always say. Then they take more. Please, here, wait. She disappeared inside. Came back with a handful of rupees. Maybe 300 total. This is all I have. Take it. Just please leave me alone. Don't call me again. Don't come back. I don't want your money. I wanted to ask if you knew someone named Rahul from the scam company. She started crying. I don't remember. They call and call. So many names. I don't know who was who. I just know they took everything. I can't pay rent. My son won't speak to me anymore. He says I'm stupid. Maybe I am. I don't know. She was exactly like my mom. Same confusion, same shame, same fear. She tried to push the money into my hand. Please just take it. Take it and go. Keep your money, I said. My voice came out wrong. I don't want it. Are you going to hurt me? No. Are you going to take more? No. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come here. I turned and left. She called after me. Please don't come back. Please. I made it down 2 flights of stairs before I had to stop. I sat down on the steps and put my head in my hands. She was still alive, still suffering, and Rahul was out there buying drinks for his friends and driving a BMW. I pulled out my phone, opened the voicemails, played the one where my mom said, I don't want to be a burden. Her voice sounded exactly like Meena's, that same apologetic tone, that same shame. I sat there for 20 minutes before I could move again. Then I went back to my Airbnb and searched find address from license plate Mumbai and found this sketchy website that looked like it was made in 2005. It claimed to access government databases for vehicle registrations. I had to pay 500 rupees through some payment system I'd never heard of. The whole thing felt like a scam, which was almost funny given the circumstances, but 20 minutes later I got an email with an address in Bandra and a name, Rahul. No last name on the document, just Rahul, but it was him. The next day I took an Uber to Bandra. The address was a gated community, actual security guards, the whole thing. The houses inside were massive, 3 stories, marble, balconies, the works. The gate itself probably cost more than my mom's entire life savings. I couldn't just walk in past security, so I waited. Sat at a bus stop across the street, waited for 6 hours. Finally, around 8 p.m., the BMW pulled up to the gate. I watched it go through. Now I knew for sure. Rahul lived here, in this fancy house. Bought with my mom's money, bought with Meena's money, bought with hundreds of old people's money. I spent the next week learning his routine. He left for work around 9 a.m., came home around 8 p.m. On weekends, he'd go out to clubs, restaurants, always somewhere expensive. I watched him buy a round of drinks for his whole table one night. Must have been 10,000 rupees, just threw his card down like it was nothing. My mom's money paying for strangers' drinks. Meena's rent money paying for his bottle service. The rage was back, that white-hot rage I'd felt at the funeral, but I had to be smart. I had to wait for the right moment. 2 weeks into my trip, I finally saw my chance. He came home alone on a Wednesday night around 11 p.m. The lights in the house went on upstairs. I waited until 2 a.m. The whole neighborhood was dark and quiet. I'd already scouted the perimeter. There was a back wall that was low enough to climb with a running start. I'd practiced it 3 times during the day when nobody was around. I was wearing a black hoodie zipped all the way up with the hood pulled tight over my head, the fabric scrunched down around my face so it blocked some of my peripheral vision, but I didn't care. I just needed to not be recognized on any cameras. I went over the wall. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I'd pass out. I found a back door, just a regular door, and to my complete shock it was unlocked. Who leaves their door unlocked? But then again, gated community, security guards paid for with my mom's life savings, he probably felt safe. I went inside. The house was dark. I used my phone flashlight on the lowest setting. The place was incredible. Marble floors bought with my mom's money. Huge TV bought with my mom's money. Expensive furniture, artwork on the walls, all of it bought with money stolen from old people who couldn't afford to lose it. I found the stairs and went up slowly, taking forever on each step to not make noise. There were 3 rooms upstairs. I checked them one by one. The first was empty, the second was an office, and the third was the bedroom. I could hear him snoring. I stood in the doorway for a long time. This was Rahul, the person who killed my mom. He was right there, asleep, vulnerable. I still had the zip ties in my pocket, the same ones I'd used on Arjun. I moved slowly slowly into the room. I could see him now in the dim light coming through the window. He was huge, grotesquely fat, like something out of a movie, like Baron Harkonnen floating in his suspensors, except this was real and he was lying in a bed wearing Gucci pajamas. The real ones with the logo print all over them. Those pajamas probably cost more than my mom spent on clothes in 5 years. I got the zip ties around his wrist before he even woke up. By the time he realized what was happening, I had his hands tied to the headboard. He started yelling and I shoved the sock in his mouth, used duct tape to keep it there. His eyes were huge and terrified in his fat face. But I didn't feel satisfaction. I thought I would, but I didn't. I just felt empty. I turned on the lights. He was trying to scream through the gag, thrashing against the zip ties, his whole body jiggling. I looked around the room, that's when I saw them. 4 framed photos on the wall opposite the bed. Professional looking, black and white, artsy. 4 old women. 4 faces. One of them was my mom. My legs almost gave out. I walked closer. It was her face, printed out, framed, hanging on his wall like art. Another one was Mina. I recognized her from 2 days ago. The same terrified expression. They'd photographed her during the scam probably. Turned her fear into decoration. I ripped the tape off his mouth. Who are these women? He was gasping, crying. Please, sir. Please don't hurt me. Please. I have family. I have money. Take whatever you want. Who are these women? He was shaking, his whole body rippling. Please, sir. Please. I put my hand around his throat, not squeezing, just there. Answer me. They're clients, sir, please. Clients? You framed photos of people you scammed? He was sobbing now. No, sir. No, we call them whales. Big scores. The boss makes us frame the best ones to motivate us. Please, sir, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Whales. Yes, sir. Please, sir, I'm sorry. My mom, a whale. Mina, a whale. Trophies on his wall to brag about. Their faces turned into motivation for other scammers. I wanted to kill him. Every muscle in my body wanted to kill him. I looked around for something heavy. There was a marble bookend on the shelf. I picked it up, walked back to the bed. He was thrashing now, trying to scream through his tears, the zip ties cutting into his wrists. I raised the bookend over my head, and I saw the photo on the nightstand again. Rahul with that old woman, his mother, smiling. I stood there frozen. The bookend felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I thought about Mina trying to give me her last 300 rupees. I thought about my mom's voicemails. I don't want to be a burden. If I killed him, someone else would be sitting where I was sitting. His mother would get that same phone call I got. She'd lose her son the same way I lost my mom, and maybe she wouldn't be able to handle it either. Maybe she'd fall apart the same way. And then what? Her other kid would come to America looking for revenge on me. Where did it end? I put the bookend down. Rahul was staring at me, confused, still crying. I went to his closet, found a safe hidden behind some clothes. It wasn't even locked, just sitting there open. Inside were stacks of cash and dozens of gold coins. I picked one up. It was heavy, real. I used my phone to look up the current price of gold, about $2,650 per ounce. Each coin was 1 ounce. There had to be at least 100 coins in there, maybe more. This was hundreds of thousands of dollars in gold, more money than I'd ever seen in my life. All of it bought with other people's life savings. All of it stolen. I started counting them, took them out one by one and laid them on the floor. Rahul was watching me from the bed, still tied to the headboard, confused now instead of terrified. 11 coins. That was $29,150. Too much. 10 coins was $26,500. Still too much. I did the math in my head. My mom had $11,000 taken. Gold was $2,650 per ounce. That meant I needed 4.15 coins, but you can't take part of a coin. I took 4 coins. That was $10,600. Then I found his stash of cash and counted out 400 rupees, which was about $400 US. Close enough, $11,000 total. Every part of me wanted to take more, to take it all, to leave him with nothing, the same way he left my mom with nothing. The gold coins were right there. So easy. I could ruin him, destroy his whole life, make him feel what we felt. I put the extra coins back in the safe. I only took what was mine, what was my mom's. I walked over to the bed. Rahul was staring at me with his wet, terrified eyes. I leaned down close. This is for my mom. And then I left. Didn't untie him. Didn't take the photos off the wall. Just walked out of that house with 4 gold coins and some cash in my pocket. I went straight back to the Airbnb, grabbed my bag. But before I went to the airport, I had one more stop. I took an auto rickshaw to Mina's building. Bought groceries on the way. Rice, dal, vegetables, tea, milk, bread. Spent 2,000 rupees. I carried the bags up the stairs and left them outside her door. Knocked once and walked back down the stairs quickly. I heard her voice, frightened. Who is it? Who's there? I was halfway down the first flight when I answered. A friend. I didn't turn around, just kept walking. I heard her door open, heard her gasp, didn't hear anything else. Then I took an Uber to the airport. It was 4 a.m. I bought a ticket for the next flight to the US. It left in 6 hours. I sat in the airport barely breathing. Every security guard that walked by I thought was coming for me. Every announcement I thought was about me. My phone buzzed, unknown number. I almost didn't open it. The message was in broken English. Are you safe now? Can I leave this life too? Farouk. I stared at the message for a long time. I didn't know what to tell him. I didn't know if I was safe. I didn't know if what I did mattered at all. I typed back, I don't know, I hope so. He never responded. When it was time to board, I went through security. They pulled me aside at customs, asked about the gold, made me wait in a room for 2 hours while they asked me questions. Where did I get it? Why was I traveling with it? Was I smuggling it? I told them the truth. Sort of, I said I bought it in India as an investment. That I was bringing it home. They weighed it, counted it, looked up the value, asked me if I knew there was a limit. I said I knew. I was under the limit. $15,000. I had $10,600. They made me wait another hour. Finally, they let me through, gave me back the coins, told me to have a nice flight. I got on the plane, found my seat, put my bag in the overhead, sat down, waited for them to tell me I couldn't fly, that the police were coming, but the plane started moving. We took off. I pressed my face against the window and watched Mumbai disappear below me. All those lights, all those people. Somewhere down there, Rahul was probably still tied to his bed. Or maybe someone found him already. Maybe he called the police. Maybe they were looking for me right now, but I was in the air, already gone. Somewhere down there, Meena was opening bags of groceries. Somewhere down there, Farouk was making another call, reading another script, hating himself, and my mom was still gone. I pulled out my phone and looked at the photo I'd taken of the 4 women on his wall. My mom's face staring back at me, Meena's face next to hers, whales, trophies. I deleted the photo. I didn't want to remember them like that. The flight was 17 hours. I didn't sleep, just sat there with my hand in my pocket touching the gold coins. Proof that it was real, that I actually did it, that I went to India and found the man who killed my mom and took back what he stole, but she was still gone. The money was back, but she wasn't. And I realized sitting there at 35,000 feet that I'd spent a year of my life preparing for this, training for this, learning Hindi for this, and it didn't change anything. She was still dead. I was still alone. The hole inside me was still there. I pulled out my phone and played one of the voicemails, the one where she said, "You're the best thing I ever did with my life." I played it 3 times. I thought about Nietzsche, something I'd read during one of those long, isolated nights. Beware that when fighting monsters, you yourself do not become a monster. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss gazes also into you. I'd spent a year staring into that abyss, planning violence, imagining torture, becoming someone my mom wouldn't recognize. And when I finally had the chance, when I was standing over Rahul with that bookend in my hand ready to do it, I saw her in that photo on his nightstand, saw his mother, saw Meena trying to give me her last money, saw the cycle continuing forever. Monster creating monster. I didn't become the monster. I took only what was owed, nothing more. And maybe that was enough. Maybe that was the only way to win. Not by destroying him, but by refusing to become him. The plane landed in San Francisco at 6 a.m. I went through customs again. Nobody stopped me. Nobody asked questions. I walked out into the arrival area and stood there for a minute. America. Home. It even smelled different from India. Cleaner somehow, less alive. I took a bus back to Utah. It took 14 hours. When I finally got back to my apartment, it was the next day. I was so exhausted I could barely stand. But I took the 4 gold coins out of my pocket and put them on the kitchen table. Sat there staring at them. My mom's life savings. Converted to gold. Sitting on a table in Utah. I still don't know if I did the right thing. I don't know if she would have wanted me to go. I don't know if it was justice or just revenge with a thin coat of restraint on top. But I know I didn't become what I was afraid of becoming. I know I looked into the abyss, and when it looked back, I blinked first. The gold is still sitting on my kitchen table. I haven't sold it, haven't spent it. I don't know what to do with it. It feels wrong to spend it, like blood money, even though technically it's my money, my mom's money, the money she saved her whole life, giving up basic luxuries to leave for me. Maybe someday I'll figure out what to do with $11,000 in gold that cost me everything to get back. But at least I know one thing. When I had the chance to become a monster, when it would have been so easy and felt so justified, I chose not to. And my mom, wherever she is, I hope she's proud of that. I hope that's enough. I submitted this story to the AmITheA subreddit, so I'm hoping you guys end up reading it because this was a very intense time in my life and I'd love to know what you guys think. I love this podcast. Narrator here. Thank you for listening to Am I the Jerk, and don't forget you can also check out stories over on Instagram at Am I the Jerk and listen over on Spotify/Apple Podcasts. This story was pretty wild, so we'd love to hear your stories too and any thoughts you have on this whole story. Would you ever do anything like this? Let me know down below in the comments. See you guys tomorrow.